made a great career, made a lot of, great friends, learned a lot, made the companies a lot of money. But tell you the truth, I was lying to myself. I was running. I was scared. It was a roller coaster ride without a seatbelt. I had to hit absolute rock bottom for me to finally realize, okay, where am I in my life?
My guest today, Ryan Ackerman. Ryan, thanks for joining me. Ryan is the president of the 1st Battalion, 5th Marines Association. We served together in Iraq. Give those who don't know you your background or why the Marine Corps.
I decided I wanted to join the Marine Corps because I truly believe that it was my opportunity to get out and really learn who I am and what I'm capable of doing. I felt that when I was a kid, I was held back with a lot of things. I wasn't given the opportunity to really understand myself, understand my strengths and my ability. So the Marine Corps stood out to me, through the movies that I watched, through the stories that I heard. I'm just like, there's just everything checks the box. And
right.
I ended up signing up and joining. And it was history from there. It was pretty amazing.
How long were you in the Marine Corps?
I did 4 years. I did 4 years total. I did 3 combat tours with 1-5. I did the initial
4 busy years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
As you know, we are one of the few battalions that actually did 3 consecutive. For what I believe, we may be the only battalion in the Marine Corps that actually had the same group do it 3 consecutive times. So it was an honor. I mean, just like you guys, when you're out and you're away from the group, you almost have that guilty conscience of feeling that, you needed to be there. So I actually had that opportunity to be there and continue serving. And it was a different beast each and every time. But I did the invasion in 2003 with you guys. Ended up going back over in 2004 for more when we were the first in after they killed the contractors and hung them on the bridge in Fallujah. We started that fight. Ended up coming to a ceasefire due to political reasons. Didn't necessarily agree with them. Felt really disrespected almost because our fight was taken away from us. We were gaining so much ground so quickly, and then we got pulled away. As you know, Marines aren't good like that. Marines just need to continue pushing. That's what we do best. And then ended up getting fapped out to the Ismet. Loved life, golfed all the time. It was amazing. And then we didn't end up getting a drop of Marines out of SOI. So I got a call from my sergeant major asking me to come back and serve 120 days over in the nice city of Ramadi.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's crazy. You fit an entire 20-year career into 4 years in the Marine Corps of combat time and combat experience. Yeah, that's wild. What was your transition like on the other side of that? That's super intense for a long time, and then you got out. What was that transition like for you?
It was a roller coaster ride without a seatbelt. I really felt that I jumped into it no different than we did each time. We went over and served overseas. We put our best foot forward, and we just had belief in ourselves that whatever comes, we'll overcome. Right. Had opportunities come up. I ended up going back to Indiana, setting up there, giving it a chance. I thought that, I was going to go to school. I was going to go become a U.S. Marshal. I really didn't have a chance to really think what I was going to do because I just finished Ramadi. I went home, processed out in the next month, and then I was out. So it was you don't really have time to plan anything. A lot of guys were going contracting. Yeah. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to try to play it safe and get a real job, something that I can count on, build a career, because I felt that's what I needed to do. And quickly realized that there were a lot of hurdles and just I didn't have the confidence in myself. So I ended up going out to California. I had an opportunity to go work at NUMMI, which was General Motors and Toyota venture, building vehicles out there, and had an opportunity to take off there. I stayed busy, so it kept me focused. Made a great career, made a lot of great friends, learned a lot, made the companies a lot of money. But tell you the truth, I was lying to myself. I was running. I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to do my best.
Yeah. I've talked about this a lot, but in 2003, when I left the Marine Corps, and several years. I think until fairly recently, the transition process really was that it was a 3-day class if you went to the class, and there were a lot of ways to get out of it. And the class was really focused on things like resume building and stuff you might need if you go get a job, but didn't talk at all about the actual transition, the feeling of loss, the feeling of separation, how to deal with new environments and new people. And you move back to Indiana. How do you do that? What does that transition look like? There was no conversation about that at all. And I think a lot of us ended up, just lost. I guess that's the right way to say it, because I don't know what to do now. I don't know how to function now. And thankfully, a lot of that's gotten better. But my response to that was put the Marine Corps as far behind me as possible, because the only way I know how to move forward is to not keep hanging on to what I had and what was behind me, that thing that I was so proud of and that thing that I was so thankful for. And it's tough. I've talked to people recently about this. It's tough to explain, particularly those that were a part of the invasion. It's maybe, I say tough, it may be impossible to explain the feeling of being a part of that. It wasn't simply a combat deployment, and no, not to diminish combat deployments otherwise, but it was this massively historic, all eyes on you. You're the only show in town. The whole world is watching moment. And then you walk away from that and, honestly, people don't care, and that's fine. They shouldn't, I guess. And you're just trying to find yourself again. Like, what am I going to do again in my life that is as important as that? And that transition leading to, loss of identity, which we talk about a lot on this show, and all of those issues, very important issues. But if you turn your back on that, if your response is, well, then I'll just forget I ever did that, that does not help at all. And that's really what I think you focused a lot of your post-military life on, is helping people understand the importance of those connections.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like, I'm going through experience myself so that I can understand it and I can help others. And, once I stopped lying to myself and doing what I believe the world expected me to do, like, things started making sense. Like, I started noticing that the feelings that I have, like, they were really powerful. And it's like, I pushed all of them aside, thinking I needed to be something else. And everybody looked at me a certain way. And, I needed to meet that standard, but I didn't even know what that standard was. It was like changing. Sure. Depending on the audience I was around, like, I had to be better than that, and it's like, at times I was around billionaires. It's like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult thing. It really honestly is. But like, as I was going through it, and I had to hit rock bottom. I mean, Jeremy, I had to hit absolute rock bottom for me to finally realize, like, okay, where am I in my life?
Yeah.
What is worth living? Because right now, all I do is continue to get knocked down, because I didn't understand, but I was doing it to myself.
Right.
I was running from my problems. Right. And once I realized who I am and what is important to me, I pulled the Marine Corps back in, because I did exactly what you said. When I left, it was like I fell off a cliff and I knew I couldn't go back. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I did my time. I'm proud. I'm a man now. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do as best as I can wherever it's needed. And I was just lost. So it's like, once I started understanding that, things started making sense. I started pulling back the military, and it's like I started connecting with the guys. And then before I knew it, like, my phone starts ringing off the hook by everybody else, like, wanting to connect. And it's like, you would have these awkward conversations in the beginning, but then quickly it would turn into like full blown, like, emotional connection with your brother on the other line. And it's like, man, it was like you guys didn't even miss an hour away from each other.
Yeah.
And it was so uplifting for me. It provided me that peace that was missing in my heart. And I started to realize, like, how I can take care of myself, how I can love myself, because I feel like forever, even growing up as I was a child, like, I never knew how to love myself. In the Marine Corps, I didn't even know how to love myself. I just push. I didn't have time to think about it. I just went.
Right.
So it's like, now I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to live my life any further past this moment, I need to figure it out. So once I got the Marines back involved, we started doing things. We started helping each other out. Like, people's lives are changing
Yep.
for the better with the smallest things, like no effort. Right. And it's just lending an ear. And once we started doing that, we ended up putting together a small reunion for Alpha Company in New Braunfels, Texas, which was amazing. And I got to meet up with some of the guys I haven't seen in forever. I mean, guys are flying all over the place during COVID to meet up. And we got to talking, and I'm like, dude, this is where I need to be. Like, this is my purpose. Like, after the Marine Corps, being a trigger puller, like, after losing that, I just, like, what do you do with that? It's like jumping out of a plane with no parachute. So I got to the point to where I started digging into it, and we were able to find a need, a want, and a way to where we have a solution to fix a problem that doesn't necessarily just exist with our battalion, but all the battalions. So what can we do to change for the future? And that's what's led us into the association.
Man, it's there's a distinction there, and you talk about it. It was a connection with the Marines. It was a connection with, with the guys. And I think where a lot of people get this wrong is they stay connected. I put that in air quotes, connected to the organization, to the Marine Corps. And you see these folks walking around, everything they wear somehow signals that they are a veteran. They were in the Marine Corps or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with all that stuff, I guess. But that's their connection, and they find a lot of identity in the organization, in the agency, in law enforcement or whatever, where what they're missing is not that. That's going to move on without them. That's going to, be its own thing. What they're missing is the connection to the people. And one of the things that you've done that again, probably not unique, but unique in my experience, is you focused a whole lot less on the organization and a whole lot more on the people. To your point, you just said this, it's not just about our battalion, it's about every battalion. It's about people who have been in very difficult situations together, and the most transparent situations you'll ever be, right? You'll never be more transparent than you are with the people you serve with in the military. But it's focusing on the people, on the individuals, not the organization that brought us together. You're thankful for that, but the lives that were impacted. And that's what you're really missing when you step away from that. And that's, man, it took me a long time to realize that. It took me 10 years to realize that. Before I started having some of those conversations, and they were kind of forced on me. Some of the,
that's good.
Some of the counter Met guys, right? Like, reached out like, hey, sir, we're doing this thing and it'd be great for you to be there. And I hadn't had those conversations ever. And that's what turned the light on for me to get me involved in the work that I'm doing now. But it's the people. Maybe talk about that for a minute, because I think that's a really important distinction that a lot of people miss.
Yeah, no, it is. And the thing is it's like, once you talk to one person, it's just domino effect. It leads into so many things. And that's what I've realized with the association. It's like, we can never have enough. Like, there's so much work to do. There's so many rocks that haven't been turned over. And it's like, you can't shortchange any of this. Right. So it's like, we do our best, we put our foot forward, and we make sure that we start connecting with the right types of people. When we first went into this, I wanted to make sure that we didn't leave our guys behind. The difficult thing I did 3 combat tours with many of these guys. So it's like, to have consecutive back-to-back-to-back events that are historic. I mean, some of the gnarliest Marine Corps battles in history. And it's like, we finally have the opportunity to bring these people together. I wanted to make sure that we didn't fill the glass half full. So I wanted to make sure we executed, we learned, we studied, we improved each and every time that we go through each of the reunions. It just so happened we were coming up on our 20th reunion for the invasion. So when I started connecting with the guys, I realized that, like, hey, I have this idea, but I can't do this alone. Like, I don't even have any experience doing it. So what did it do? It led into ideas, right? Like, what's popping in my head? Who can help me right now? On the highest level possible, who could I call right now that can probably have a solution to my problem? And the first person that came to my mind was our battalion commander for invasion, Lieutenant Colonel Fred Padilla at the time, retired Major General Padilla. Honestly, like probably the greatest man I've ever met in my life. And I have the utmost respect for him and would do anything for that man or his family. And once I connected with him, we discussed a 20-year reunion, and right away we all agreed that it would be great. And it's like, how can we do this? And it's like, well, you know, if we're going to do it right, we need to do battalion level. Well, who's ever done a battalion size reunion before? You know, I mean, you're talking like 1,000 people. So I ended up talking through it and trying to figure out a way we could do it. He wanted to grab the bull by the horns and come up with a solution. Actually work with a local group down there in Southern California and get it going. And as we were talking, you know, I realized that we needed something much more than a reunion. We needed something long-term, and we needed to build an association. That way we have something current. We can build something for the future. And as we have that, we can still go back as far as we can to make sure we don't leave any of our brothers behind. And when we did that, we realized that we're going to need a team to do it. So we had Edgar Menz, we had Manuel Rojo jump in there. Had Wade Spann jump in there. Charlie Williams jumped in there. I mean, we had some great guys just willing just to jump in, get waist deep into it and just figure it out. And we were able to do that. But as we were doing that, all it did is open up more and more doors. We realized the gaps that exist within our battalion and the things that we wear in our hearts, but we don't show. And that is our Gold Star families. And we feel like they weren't done right during that time because we're uneducated. We were constantly moving. We always can do better. So I think we should start with that. So we focused on that. We started getting in contact with the Gold Star families, letting them know who we were, what we were about, and what we were going to do for them if they were open and willing. And the turnout from that, man, the fact of all those families, and you got to think these family members are getting older. You know, and it's like, they didn't hesitate. They leaned in, they believed in us, and, you know, they provided us the love and support, and we just continued to build. And that just led into another thing, suicide. One of the main reasons I got so involved in this is because I know we as 1-5 get at least 3 to 4 suicides a year. A year. Like this, the suicide rate, the accidental deaths, the diseases, the cancers, there's so many things out there that people are dealing with. And we realize that we must honor the families of the fallen as well. So we started connecting with the families that had their sons go overseas and fight that fight and come home and still carry on that burdens of the battles they fought and continue to fight the fight to where they finally weren't able to do it anymore. Like those families don't have the support around them to be able to process that and understand it. It's up to us to educate them. It's up to us to build the relationship. Everything must go full circle. And if it doesn't, it's not real.
That's good. Well, one of the I guess the big, you know, kind of catalyst moments for me talking through this, you mentioned Wade Spann. He was part of that conversation. He was actually a big part of that conversation for me. Jeremy Mahon, Manny Silva, some of those guys that you know, huge influence in my life, just in their kind of bringing me back into the fold, which is, I think, is a little bit ironic, but the realization around those conversations that if we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't take care of each other, no one's going to. And it's not because the VA is, you know, the devil. It's not because society hates us. It's none of those things. It's just because they're not connected to it. They don't understand it. That's fine. They don't understand the people, the individuals. And one of the things, I went to the 20th anniversary reunion, and it was unbelievable for so many reasons. One of the reasons was you walk into the room, you're like, like you said, there are 1,000 people here. This is not, I didn't know what to expect. This is not a small thing. I live 40 minutes from Camp Pendleton. And so my wife's like, you have to go to that. If you don't, it would be stupid. I'm like, I don't know.
Good on her.
She's like, just go. And if you don't like it, we'll leave. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I spent the whole night, I don't even think I sat down. I spent the whole night just talking to people and seeing people. And it's amazing to see these Marines that you served with 20 years ago grown up and with families, and their kids are off doing stuff. And yeah, it's like you didn't miss a beat, right? Like, we've lived our lives, but we had this moment that wasn't shared with too many other people. And it makes things very different. And then the opportunity to continue to support. Yeah, it's wild. But to your point, if we don't take care of each other, then no one's going to. The Gold Star families need to feel appreciation. Those whose family members, made that decision to take their lives, as horrific as that is, they don't need to be ashamed. They should be proud of the service of their loved one, whoever that was. And we're the only ones that can, care for those people. Yeah, it's hugely important.
Totally. And the thing is too, is what I've learned through the years, and I've been married a few times, and my first two marriages were difficult because I didn't share who I was. I didn't talk about the military, right? Nobody understood, because when I talked, things came out and I would shock the room, and I quickly would get uncomfortable. So it was like I just didn't talk about it. Well, by me meeting the most amazing person in my life, which is now my wife of almost 5 years, and our amazing family, like I wouldn't have the motivation, the energy, the drive to do this. I have the family, I see the need, but it takes the family support to allow you to be able to do those things and to understand and move through. Well, here's the thing. My wife didn't come from a military family. She wasn't raised around one. She didn't even know, so for her to open up and understand all kinds of different levels, and to go to these reunions and see how damaged some of the folks are.
Right.
And hear the stories, but at the same time wants to lean in and help any way she can and provide, outside perspective, and want to be able to grow what we're capable of doing and providing more resources. Like, it's huge. Yeah. And that's how the community builds, right? It's by us talking, sharing our stories. But I do believe, as grunts, we do need to be aware of our audience. Luckily, as we get older, we get a little more wiser and aware, but, definitely be aware of your audience. Share, like at these reunions, I have kids, I have wives, I have uncles, aunts, mothers, fathers come up to me and are just like, you're doing amazing things. You guys are doing amazing things, because now I'm able to understand why my husband does that or my dad does that. Now I'm able to understand who he is, where he comes from.
Yeah.
Like, where would you ever get another opportunity to do that? Yeah. That would just be a complete void in their life. Well, that's going to hinder their growth as a child.
Yep.
So it's like, how can we continue to help? How can we bring awareness? And then that's just us, right? Now you got to go into the Afghanistan guys, right? 1-5 went back over there 2 more times. They weren't in Narwa. They went over to Sangin. Had some bloody battles over there.
Yeah.
And it's like, we must pick them up. I've got to learn the Gold Star families and the families of the fallen from their group, and amazing guys like Anthony Marquez and Manny Marquez doing the Make Peace or Die film. Like, are you kidding me? It's huge. Tells an amazing story. If you haven't seen it, you need to sit down with your families and watch it.
Yeah.
There's so much meaning there. And it's weird that we didn't serve in the same exact conflict, right? But at the same time, like, I understand all of those feelings.
Yeah, that's good.
Like the tears I shared, you know what I mean? It's like, we need to bring awareness to it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, having an opportunity for the families to learn and to understand, to be around other people is super important. I during that reunion, that was one of the things I said to my wife is, I wish our kids were here. It just, it's funny, given the work that I do, I talk about veterans and veterans issues all the time. My kids know that, but I don't talk about my service. I don't talk about, what I was a part of. In fact, my high school senior aged daughter this year had me come in and do a presentation for one of her classes about Iraq and my time in Iraq. She's like, I've never heard any of that. And it is important for our families to understand, where we came from, but understand the good as well as, some of the challenges and the other people that were involved. But it's also really helpful just to have a place to be able to offload the thoughts and the feelings in that safe environment. We do need to be aware of surroundings, but there needs to be a place where you can be as raw and as real as you want to, and people aren't going to be appalled by what they're hearing. And then you can go back to, civilized society and you're a better husband, you're a better father, you're a better, whatever, when you've had the opportunity to offload some of that. So that makes it, as important. What was the catalyst for you to go, all right, the reunion is great, but now we need to do other events? And then how did you decide what those events were, and maybe talk about some of the things you guys are currently involved in?
Yeah, the thing is it's just communicating with the community, finding out what people like, what things are missing in people's life, what things they haven't been given the opportunity to understand or experience. Just trying to get opportunities for people to grow. I've learned that personally myself through my wife. Like, there's many times that I'm just like, no, I don't do that. And before you know it, I'm out running again. Like, I don't like running. But it's like,
who does?
you do things because there's meaning behind it, and it's like it's a wonderful thing, and it's like we can continue doing those things. We want to be able to also continue growing for the long term, because this isn't something that we want just for our time while we're here on this earth. I want this to be ongoing forever. At the same time, I would love for it to be a benchmark for the Marine Corps, for the military infantry units. You know what I mean? Like, they should have a support system in place. And what I've really realized is we have a lot internally. We have a lot of people with skill sets that are professionals in all kinds of different fields, but at the same time, everybody's busy in those fields. So by the organization getting together and finding ways on how we can best use the proper tools to get the most out of it, we realize that we must build our network. We must partner with groups that have resources outside our reach, right? And luckily, the Robert Irvine Foundation had the ability to show me that personally. And honestly, if it wasn't for the Robert Irvine Foundation, I don't believe our reunions would have been successful. Nowhere close. And what was great about it is we got to let them know our vision, our story, and him and his team was able to provide us a safe platform and let us do our job. Let us come up with the full plan and present it. And then he backed it up 100% and some. And he did that 3 consecutive years for us. And I mean, it was crazy. We had it was 3-day event there at Camp Pendleton. We had the chaplain of the Marine Corps, Chaplain Cash, come out there and give
now the
Easter
Chief
Sunday.
of Chaplains of the Navy. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
it is amazing just to be in the same area as those warriors, those amazing men. Like, it was just incredible. And then from there, we went off into the Fallujah 20-year reunion. We put a cross up on the First Sergeant's Hill. Captain Edgar Menz, his father-in-law, his company built the cross for us, and we took it up there and set it up there. We hung the dog tags. On the left are all our KIA, and on the right are all our warriors that have passed after. We want to make sure that we have a safe place to where people can go and spend time with our brothers, and reminisce and honor our history, honor our 1-5 legacy.
That's good. Talk about the Gunny Bohr Award. You guys are going to be present for that. I've talked about Gunny Bohr recently. I can't remember when, but recently. But maybe talk about him for a minute and talk about the award that's come out of that, because that's a win for the 1-5 Association as well, I think.
Oh, it's beyond a win, sir. I mean, honestly, like the man's a giant. He was my company, Gunny. He came to us in 2002 when we were like building up the company, and come from SOI. Very calm, confident, far from arrogant. You get a lot of staff NCOs and gunnies with a lot of attitude, and just how the Marine Corps is. He was different. He was definitely a different man. And we kicked off into Iraq, and we went into we're getting ready to go into Baghdad, and he was in a soft skin Humvee. We knew what we were about to go into, so he was asked to stay back. And as you know, Gunny, where his boys are going, he's going to be there. And if anything, he's going to try to be first. And he didn't make it. He got hit going in right before we ended up getting into Saddam's palace. And we heard it come over the radio that we lost him. And then we ended up packing back up, and Alpha Company went back out to go take the mosque in Baghdad, which was one wild fight. But we ended up losing Gunny, and I've kept in touch with a few of his brothers over the years, and this is after I got back involved with Marine Corps brothers and things. And I got to learn more about him. At the same time, I had a rare relationship with him. I helped out with the armory, so he leaned on to me for a number of things, as I leaned on to him too. But it was almost like I was his, son, far distant son or something. And it got to the point in Iraq where he would be able to open up and share stories and stuff with me, and I got to see a different side of him. The level of empathy that man had, and how much he really cared, and the things he looked forward to, but how strongly he could focus on what needed to be done, no matter the bright lights or loud explosions. Like you weren't distracting that man. And anyways, I got a call, or actually I got an email from Captain Hag. He was with 1-5. He was with us right before we ended up deploying for the invasion. He was going to become an officer, so he was a sergeant. He was going to move on. So he ended up reaching out to me and told me that Headquarters Marine Corps contacted him and wanted to link me up with them because they're looking to nominate Gunny for the Namesake Award for Outstanding Leadership for 0369. And right away, I'm like, it's meant to be. Like, this is a sign. I got to jump on this. I reached out to Master Guns right away, and I let him know that I wanted to get in contact with him to learn more and find out how I could support to make sure this is done right. And I mean, they were so professional and so open and like intriguing, and it was awesome. Ended up putting together a number of stories from people and photos. It was very hard to get photos of that man, but we were able to get a few of them. And,
there aren't many out there.
Yeah, there really isn't. And we ended up getting it submitted. It went through review, and he was selected. So I got to work with the sculptor. I got to work with the Marine Corps Association, Colonel Mundy, and and amazing. It's just, I never would have thought 20 plus years later down the road, a corporal would be doing something like this. Like it's truly an honor. And got to work with the sculptor on, designing what Gunny looks like, because that award is going to be given out for the first time this year, and will be given out annually for the rest of the Marine Corps' career, which will be forever.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good work. I was actually talking to General Padilla. It's been a few months ago now, and he was talking to me about that and the work that you did on it. And he's proud in the right way, and rightfully so. To see Gunny and his family, Gunny Bohr and his family honored that way is really special. And you guys will be there, so that's That's special too.
Yeah, there's a good number of us going. Actually, Lori Bohr is going to be coming out. We got Rich. Rich is going to be coming out. So the brothers are going to be there. A number of the Marines from 1-5. We got Sergeant Major Green coming out. Major General Padilla will be there.
That's cool.
Great.
Awesome. Man, Ryan, you're doing incredible work, and I think really blazing a trail for a lot of other folks. And it's very, very important work. It's been important to me. And I know a lot of other folks in 1-5. How can people learn more about you, learn more about the 1-5 Association and the work that is being done? A lot of events, an event coming up, just stuff going on all the time. How can people learn more about all that?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the kind words and the support, getting the word out. We definitely want to do that. We want to make sure that we reach out to as many 1-5 Marines and family members that are out there. It doesn't matter what era. If they were part of the 1-5 alumni, we want to bring them in. And one thing I just want to touch on real quick too. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for the committee. The committee really holds things together. They keep things moving forward, and those Marines, like, it wouldn't be possible without them. Like, it might be, my idea, my face, my voice, but really they're the ones behind the scenes making it all possible. So I got to give them a little bit of respect there.
At least a little bit.
Yeah. So now, other than that, when it comes down to finding out more about us, you can go through our website, which is www.1st Battalion 5th Marines Association.org. I know it's pretty long, but you can go there. You can get quite a bit of information, and we're constantly trying to do continuous improvements on the website. We're learning as we go. So please work with us. At the same time, reach out to us. Let us know what we can add, right? What would you like to see? Right now, we got a little description about our upcoming event. We're going to be going over to Scotland with the Robert Irvine Foundation to do the Catamaran Yomp, which is a 54-mile challenge in just 24 hours in the Highland Hills. So it's pretty brutal, but really look forward to it. There's a total of 11 of us, 1-5 guys that are going to be going over there in total. So it's going to be pretty amazing. At the same time, we're going to have some great stories coming out of that, sharing with people our experiences, our takeaways. At the same time, future opportunities if they come up. Cool. Other than that, we have our social media accounts. We have our Instagram, we have our Facebook, we have our LinkedIn. We try to keep up with that as much as possible. Sometimes there's a little delay, but also we're looking for people to step in and help out. If you're within the 1-5 alumni, like, doesn't matter when you serve, like, if you want to be a part of this and you have skills that you can bring to the table and help us build this out for the long term, please don't hesitate. We want to bring you in. We want to be as versatile as possible, as strong as possible, but at the same time as open as possible. Everything that we do goes full circle. So just know that. We're not looking for any handouts, but what we are is looking for long-term relationships.
It's crazy. I've been speaking at MCRD recently. About once a quarter, I'll speak there to the recruits, and it's cool, but it's also like super humbling because they're like younger than my kids, and so it's just funny to see 2,000 recruits sitting in the auditorium, and like, man, it's like these are teenagers. But I have the same thought every time I go in there that what we did was important, but what we're building is for them. It's for that generation, right? And to hear you talk about what's being built, it really is. We're going to be gone someday. There's a whole nother group of young Marines who are going to be old Marines at some point, and they're going to need the same support, the same systems, and we have an opportunity to impact that. So, get involved. If you're not, get involved. Be a part of it and plug in, ask questions. If you're not doing anything right now, do something, right? There's always opportunity. It's awesome, man. Well, thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate it. Very grateful for you and the committee and many other folks who've been involved in making this happen, but it's special. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you, sir. It's been an honor meeting with you. It's been an honor doing this. And I just want everybody to know that our stories shall never go untold. Simplify, make peace or die.
That's good. That's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, share. This is an important episode to share out. And you know someone who has served that's looking for a place to connect. I get asked all the time, my family member, they serve, they won't talk to anyone, they don't know where to go, what should they do? Well, start by sharing content like this out, pointing them to the association. I'll say this: if they didn't serve in 1-5, but they're lost, point them to the association, and we'll get them in the right place.
Absolutely.
That's how you start. So appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.